How's it going today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. We're doing another episode of Kings and Priests Biblical Agreements and Discourse, and today we're going to be talking about, we're still talking about the marriage arrangements and, you know, and the relationship between man and man. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to be we're going to have a few scriptures. And then we're going to be talking about how man is trying to rule over man in today's uh, political climate. I guess that makes sense. Do you have anything to add to that, sir?
Well, I just want to pray us in, and then we can get right into some of the scriptures and some of our discussions. Okay,
Let's do
our
that.
Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us as we forgive others. Lead us not into temptation. Wait a minute, I said, but lead us not into temptation, and forgive us as we forgive others. Uh, that's about it for me for right now. I should have took it out of the Bible, but I didn't. Okay.
That's okay. Yeah, we were going to thank God for giving us the opportunity to come together and talk about his people in His Word. Amen.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah. So we have a couple scriptures. And did you want to read them, or you want me to read them?
I could read them.
Okay.
Okay, the first one that you have down here, I believe, is Luke 19:14. And before we, saying basically, it's the title is "Man Cannot Rule Over Man." So just like this here, I'm going to start reading this in 19 Luke 19:14, and I'm going to start reading this in about 11, okay, through 14, if that's okay.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
okay.
says here, it says here 11. And as they heard these things, he added and spoke a parable, because he was nigh to Jerusalem, and because they thought that the kingdom of God should immediately disappear. 12, excuse me. He said, therefore, this is Jesus talking, a certain nobleman went out into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. 13. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them £10 and said unto them, occupy till I come. Then 14, he says, but his citizens hated him and sent a messenger after him, saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. So that's the reading from 11 to 14.
All right. All right. So it's obvious there's a situation where um, people disagree with who the leadership is going to be, and uh, unequivocally said, "Hey, look, this is not going to be our person, the person who's going to lead us or rule over us."
Right.
That's what that scripture pretty much basically is kind of sort of lining up to what's going on today. Um, our uh, country, United States of America. So, yeah. So, you want to go to the next one?
Yes, I'll go ahead and go to First Timothy 3:5. And First Timothy 3:5 reads, for if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? That's what it says.
Exactly. That's what it says, right? So we have to. We have one would wonder how we have gotten. This is the world now, not just us, because if this is the country with the biggest might, and by that I mean biggest military, uh, that means that it's pretty much the most powerful country when it comes to a warfare. It's a situation where if there's a war, that those who line up with the United States of America would be lining up with the most strongest military force that exists in the world today. So, I mean, that doesn't mean that, that if that happened, that's the reason why it hasn't happened because no one's clear as to what would happen if that was in fact the effect of a World War III. So yeah, so that's what the discussion is about. So the discussion is about um, where we're where we're at today as far as this earth in which we currently reside, currently you know dwell on. So yeah. So anyway, so what's going on with it? You had some things that you were telling that you were saying earlier. I don't know if you
Well,
want to keep.
well, I would say this, okay, just in staying in the man cannot rule over man. Okay, you have it to where um, man has two variations of man ruling over man. You have it to where man in groups rule over man, and you have it to where a man rules over a group of men or man. So you have it just like how you just said, the United States of American military. That's a group of man, and what they're trying to do is rule over men that's all over the world. Okay. And they're using their military strength as a, shall we say, an influencer to get men to respond to whatever it is that they want. So, being that you have this group of men ruling over groups of men around the world, you have conflict. Now, the conflict is okay, the United States has military might. So, there's different countries that wouldn't dispute that. They would say, yes, the United States has military might. But now there's other countries that have an amount of military might as well. The United States is not the only country. So the United States putting its military might as an influencer over all these other groups of men all over the world is something that creates an amount of turmoil or discord. There's some countries that's like, we don't care about the United States of America military. We have it to where our country runs like this, and we're not going to give in to what America is saying. Now, there's places like in Iran, there's something that's going on right now, okay? And then you take it to where there's places in other parts of the world that they're saying we don't care about the United States of America military, just like Greenland. Okay, it's like, well, look, we don't want to be bought by the United States of America, even though the United States of America tries to push its military influence over Greenland. Now, in my most recent encounters, the man that's trying to be the influencer of man in these groups is Donald Trump. Okay, a lot of this stuff has come up since he's been in office. And ones can't deny that. They say, yeah, that's true. That's where a lot of this conflict comes up, is because here it is, Donald Trump is doing things to cause turmoil between certain countries and certain people in certain parts of the world, using the United States of America military influence or strength as one of the push lines. Now, as we have seen, and I was surprised that he admitted it the other day. He says, yes, when we went into Venezuela, we killed a lot of people. He said that the United States killed a lot of people going into Venezuela and getting their leader. He said, yes, a lot of people, a lot of Venezuelans died in that attack. Now, I was surprised to hear him say that, but that's what he said, so it must be true. And you have to understand that uh, that's what happens when you have your military go in and do military activity in another country, or even And what America is afraid of is that he'll try to have the military turn on the United States of American citizens. And they're saying, well, it's there's certain things that's reaching a, shall we say, boiling point, a point to where, there's people even in the Republican side that's saying we're not really in line with this. You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm saying, man cannot rule over man like you're saying here. It's just like they will reach a point where they'll say he's trying to be a dictator. He's trying to be a king over everything and throw his weight into whatever he wants to do and however he wants to do it. And I believe that that is going to change the direction of some of the things politically that's going on here in the United States of America. Now, as some would have in their hearts and minds, is that these kingdoms will be set up, but God's kingdom will come and crush them, and God's kingdom will be set up, and that's what will reign forever and ever. Now, in my opinion, do I think God's kingdom is here yet? I wouldn't say yes, but I think that there's bits and pieces of it that has been here all the time. And that the empowerment of it all, see what I'm saying? It's never been put to a test like Donald Trump is trying to put it to the test. See what I'm saying? He's trying to put it to the test to where God's kingdom will have to come and reign and be the most powerful kingdom. Because if it's not, then Donald Trump is going to try to have it to where whatever he says is going to be what goes, and people have to go along with that. Now, me, I have an uplifted heart, and I'm a strong believer in God. So it's going to be interesting to note what is going to happen as time goes forward and as things will happen. Because there's one thing that's for sure is things are going to be continuing to happen because they already have been continuing to happen. So, I mean, what do you kind of see as far as the future encounters with these things, Ted?
Oh well, obviously, you know, there'll definitely be a revolt as far as the higher power concerned, which is Almighty, and it is going on as we speak. In my opinion, it's not. It's by design. The design is that over time,
Hmm.
when there's a certain group of people who consider themselves superior, yeah, yeah, the superior race, that they will come to ruin because that's how it's always been through the time through the time regarding man, and that has not changed, and it will continue to be the same way. That's, for example, um, you know, which is when you stop and think about it, there's no, uh, in for my growing up around people where we in my family of what we would be considered as Africans. That's where we came from, Africa, and African Americans, where we said, you know what, let's go over here and take over this. Let's go over and take over that. We're gonna take care of it. Well, not any time in growing up has that even occurred into the house, where I was raised. And so, nor has it been with other family members that are the same, ethnicity. Where we say, oh yeah, we're gonna take over. We're gonna rise up and we're gonna take over the world. That doesn't happen within you know the African American community. And so to have that thought is of a different mindset where you think, okay, we need to hold on to power. We need to hold on to power. Hold on, how you gonna hold on to power? Something that you can't hold on to. That is basically what's going on now. It's going on to now. The realization is here. Holding on to power that you can't have, that you can't control, is not going to happen. And in this country, there's a thing called one drop rule. In other words, if you got one drop of black in you, then you are not white. Yeah, it's hard, very difficult to be a so-called Caucasian person any place of the world. Very difficult because do that DNA. If it comes back, that DNA says, "Oh yeah, there's there's an African in you." That tells you that okay, your European race is not pure. As you call it pure. So that is what needs to be cleared out, right? Because this is the one drop. I don't know if you ever heard it, but there's a one drop rule in these United States that says if you got one drop of black blood in you, that's what you are. They may use the word Negro. That's what you are. So that's going to eliminate a whole lot of people that claim they're pure, whatever you want to call it. Actually, I'm not sure what would be called, but I do know that to reach that threshold is very, very difficult, right? If not impossible. So that needs to be straightened out, okay? And that needs to stop. And with Donald Trump running amok, they allowed him to run amok, so to make America great again, it's going to cause a lot of problems for the folks who say, we want to reign supreme. Well, you can't reign supreme. It's not biblically. That's impossible. Biblically, it's not the design. Biblically, it's not. You're going to be going against God Almighty, force that you cannot beat. So you cannot win. And once they understand that biblically, now we're talking about biblically, then it needs to cease and desist immediately. And that is basically in my opinion, what's going on with Donald Trump. Okay, we're going to let, this is God, right? I'm going to let you have your way. And I'm going to let you put this person in a position of power. So you think that he's going to reign and that with his reign, you will reign as well. And this is crumbling. All this stuff is eroding. Donald Trump is collapsing. This narrative, make America great, is falling short, And then, when it's all said and done, who will be the next leader of the free world? Will it be someone like that's projected to be how they want America to look moving forward, to make America great again movement? Or will it look like somebody like a Kamala Harris that will come back and position themselves position where all this will start to go away, and moving forward, it'll be the character of God that will illuminate, to where people look and say, oh yeah, this is the character of God over here. The character of God is over here in the United States of America, the melting pot of the world, where people can come over here and be citizens. Of course, be citizens. There's a definite process that you need to take to become a citizen in America. But you can come over here and be a citizen. Anybody in the world can come over here and become a citizen of this country. And that's what we hope. And the hope is that they will, if they have prejudices, they'll leave those prejudices where they come from. Okay, we're here and we live in a harmonious society, and that's basically what's going to happen. Because God's not going from here on out, because man has advanced himself in a way now where he can actually destroy not the world, but the people that dwell in the world. And that's where things start to become a little bit where God is going to come in and step in, if that makes sense.
Well,
and that's what's going on now.
I would say this. I'd say that, man is what ones have been seeing, and the power of man is what ones have been seeing throughout my lifetime. I'm 68 years old. And the ones that I've been around and that's been around me, they say yes, they've been seeing the power of man doing things, not so much the power of God. Now, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I mean, I've seen the work of God move in America because of the way that the black race was treated, and it used to be called the Negro race. You didn't even call them black; they didn't want to be called black. But the way things have changed, because it's just like I look at these broadcasters, you know what I'm saying? Black broadcasters, okay. I see some of the people that are doing affluently well, you know what I'm saying? Black people. Now, back when I was a kid, it was like, hey, the back of the bus, you know what I'm saying? And if white people wanted your stuff, they would come in mobs and either try to take it or take you down or be harassful and even abusive, okay, towards black people, okay, what we're called Negroes then. And I think God's hand stepped in my opinion, to stop that or slow that down. Because as far as black people being treated and looked at the way they were in 1962 and 63, it's no more. And I mean, I was around then, so I've seen it with my own two eyes. And can't nobody tell me that it's the same because I know for sure that it's not. And I think God's hand moved in that. But a lot of people may not give it to the grace of God, but I personally do because I don't know of any other way that it could have happened. Now, as that same hand of God moved in that situation, I believe the hand of God will move even more so in certain things that we're going through now. But like I say, there's not too many people that'll come to you like I did just now and say, look, back in 1962, 1963, okay, white were so abusive that if you had something that they wanted, they would come and physically abuse you and take it from you. But that's what they would do back in 1961, 1962. You know what I'm saying? White people had such a dominance, okay, to where, you know, they would tell you when I was growing up, they say, hey, back in 1962, 1963, what would they tell an African American or Negro or color? They say, don't worry. In your lifetime, you will never see a black president. You'll never see a Negro president in your lifetime. That's what they would tell me back when I was growing up. Okay. And I'm 63, 60, 68 years old. And have I seen a black president? Yeah, I've seen Obama. But back when I was back in 62, 63, they say, yeah, you're not going to ever see a Negro president. You're not going to ever see an African American president. That's not going to happen in the United States of America. And rest assured of that. Don't you remember them saying that, Chad?
Oh yeah, I remember. Of course, remember that
Okay.
that
Okay.
to be a black man in America and become president was, uh, although people said that were black that wanted to be president, and matter of fact, ran as president. I remember Jesse Jackson ran
Mm-hmm.
as president,
Right.
and so it wasn't far fetched to hear a black person say, "Oh, I want to be president of the United States," and of course,
So,
trying to be president.
things.
Shirley Chisholm as well. She's another one. So you got people who, uh, uh, you know, had a platform. Say, yeah, it's possible. We'll never be president unless we try to be president of the United States. And that's basically what they were trying to do. That's what they were saying. Well, look, I'm gonna try to be president. I may not be president, but I'm gonna create a platform and perhaps a blueprint to where you, as a black person, can say, look, I see what Shirley Chisholm did. I see what Jesse Jackson did. They didn't become president, but I seen how they position themselves, trying to at least say, hey, look, the possibility of being a black president or seeing a black president in America is not so far-fetched. And that's what they did. And so, you have to, give them a praise for that that foresight. And so that's probably part of trying to set the stage for the possibility, and they did. And so I think that yeah, you can say that. Okay, a lot of people say that I doubt if I ever see a black president. Like, for example, our grandfather was probably, Arthur Renfro was probably one of those who thought, well, he'll never see a black president. He never did see one. But there came along a black president. And once that happened, then this is when, the plan, in my opinion, God's plan was to go ahead and say, okay, now you see a black president and you see what a black man in the highest office of the land will do and how they will conduct themselves. So you should have fear. And if you do have something to fear, then there's going to be a price to pay. And that's what's going on now. In my opinion, that's what's going on now. Because look, how it's going to take the GOP decades to recover after this. And the only way they're going to be able to actually recover from this is if they hide a Republican in the Democratic Party and say, okay, you're a Democrat. We know you're a Republican. Go over there to the Democrats. Yeah, I know you're a Republican. Look, we recruit you. You're a Republican, but we want you to go over there and act like you're a Democrat, right? Because that's the only way we're going to be able to get our agenda back out there is if we pretend to be Democrats, but yet we're still Republicans. And that's the only way they're going to be able to change this that they did to themselves in the next 40 years, okay? That long. After this, what Donald Trump did to this party, it'll take them that long for them to even think about gaining the Congress, the Senate, and the presidency of the United States again. And this, you were talking about, you're not talking about it now, but you were talking about this election stuff that was going on.
Nationalizing the election. Yeah.
Nationalizing the election. I mean, you tell me where that is, I'll read that.
Okay. Let me see if I can find it here. It's hold on a second, because I might have erased it from my
That's fine. Yeah, I want to go ahead and take a look at that, what you're talking about.
It says Trump nationalizing the midterm. If you go there, then you go down to PBS, what Trump's call to nationalize elections means for the midterms. And then it's 2 days ago that they talked about it. But,
okay,
did you want to go there and read it?
Well, no, I'm not going to do it because, for whatever reason, I mean, we're streaming on certain platforms. And one of the platforms that we're streaming to is like, they got they're real strict about going on different, like, for example, you can go on a website and look at something. These platforms don't have a problem with. We got one platform that apparently has a problem with it. What they do, they'll suspend the stream for like 7 days, right? So that's the reason why you don't see me going on, where you don't see a bunch of just you and I talking, right? Because this is you and I talking. It's an original conversation. It's our copyright, right? Because it's you and I talking.
Bible study.
Yeah, so it's not like it's a Bible study, yeah, but it's also it's not any copyright that's been infringed. But you and I having this conversation, so it'll still be up. It'll stream to my. I'll say the platform is TikTok. I was having a problem with TikTok, and it was like 7 days. Now I would do a video, and it might be a little ticker at the bottom. I was running some ticker. All of a sudden, I was like, okay, they tripping on the tickers, So I
Mhm.
decided, we're gonna run it, make sure that's not the problem. So that's why, if you said if you read it, what it said would be a different story. But for me to go to the site and read it might be an issue. That's why I say if I knew where the site was, I would go ahead and just read what you were reading. And
Mhm.
what was it? What you say? What was the site? What was it? What you said article at?
Hold on just a second. I have to go back to it. It's Trump nationalizing the midterm election, and what I did was I went to what's called PBS.org. Okay, I went to PBS.org, and it says what Trump's call to nationalize elections means for the midterms, and it kind of has an article on it. See what I'm saying? But basically, what he's trying to do is have it to where certain ones don't have to vote, okay, by the state constitution. They can just go ahead and so he could submit it as the Republicans won it. Okay, but here they're saying that he'll be mainly focusing in on states where he's not winning by what they're saying with PBS. But like I said, I don't want to read it because, like you said, there might be something there that's
No,
contradictory.
that's not the problem as far as like if they wrote it down, it's not a problem because they read it. In other words, you just fact checking what they're saying. It's not a
Mhm.
problem. But if, like, for example, if if you know you put their website up, they might say, okay, you're trying to
Infringe upon their
promote
copyright.
promote this. We're talking about TikTok now.
Hmm.
Because YouTube don't have a problem with it. YouTube is I can put this up with YouTube with the exact same article, and I can
Hmm.
read it what it says through YouTube. But
Hmm.
I'm just trying to test. I'm testing out the platform to
Hmm.
see if I will be suspended because every time I get on with a platform like a YouTube platform and play a video, which what they said, it's been an issue. Now, if I would have taped it, let me put it this way, if I would have had a video of it, just me doing the video, it's
Hmm.
their video, but I did the video. In other words, I didn't go to a website. I just did the video. I was able to download the video, put the
Hmm.
video up here, and then play the video. It would have been an issue because the video is what I I
Download
download it, right? Instead of
it.
going straight to the website where it says YouTube or Facebook or whatever,
Hmm.
Instagram, whatever, it just so that's the reason why I'm not doing it. But just reading it just reading what it says on the article. It just says, well, I'm reading the article. I just don't have the article, you know.
Hmm.
So that's the
If
reason
you
why I'm
want, I
not
could
reading
read
it.
it. I
But
could
go
read
ahead
it.
and read it. Yeah, go ahead and
Okay.
read it.
This is about Trump, okay, and nationalizing the election. What Trump's call to nationalize election means for the midterms. The Constitution mandates that states run elections, not the federal government. The panel discusses what this means for Trump's call to nationalize elections for elections and potential influence on the 2026 midterms. This here is Jeffrey Goldberg. President Trump's obsession with elections he's won and elections he lost, but claims to have won, elections he's afraid Republicans may lose, is well documented. There's a great deal of worry among election officials across the country that Trump will use whatever tools he has at his disposal, including, most alarmingly, America's intelligence services, to create doubt and confusion around the upcoming midterms. Joining me tonight to discuss this and more, Jonathan Karl, the chief Washington correspondent at ABC News and author of Retribution, Donald Trump and the Campaign That Changed America, Liz Landers at the White House, correspondent for PBS NewsHour. Jonathan Lemire is a staff writer at The Atlantic and a co-host of a Morning Joe on MS Now. And Michael Shisher is a staff writer and a White House correspondent at The Atlantic. Thank you all for joining me. let's talk about this word nationalization. There's a lot of stuff to unpack here. What does it mean to nationalize an election? And this here is Jonathan Carl, Washington Bureau Chief, ABC News. Well, I think for Trump, it means to go in there and run the elections and states and localities that he's lost. I mean, there isn't a great grand strategy here, but he's talking about some sense of a federal takeover of the way the elections are run, and again, primarily exclusively focusing on places that he lost in 2020. Jeffrey Goldberg, right, let's listen to what Trump told former deputy director of the FBI and current podcast Dan Bongino this week about this issue. Donald Trump, U.S. president. The Republicans should say, we want to take over, we should take over the voting in at least many 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And then we have states that are so crooked and they're counting votes. We have states that I won that show I didn't win. This was Trump saying this. And then Jeffrey Goldberg. So here's a trivia question for all you political nerds. What does Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 of the Constitution say about this issue? Please feel free to hit your buzzer at any time. Michael, yes, Michael Scherzer, staff writer of Atlantic. It says states run elections. Jeffrey Goldberg. Interesting. Michael Scherzer. So, and President Trump came in. He issues a bunch of executive orders. He tries to get rid of mail voting. He tries to change voting machine technology. He tries to impose a voter ID. Almost all of that has been thrown out by the courts. There's some still pending, but it's not going anywhere. The courts can read the Constitution, even if the president can't. He can't get very far there. And so that's kind of like how it's going. As far as, did you want me to keep reading?
No, you did good.
So you have to understand that, by him stating this, publicly, and then he kind of recants it later on and says, well, anytime he makes a big enough, let's say, stupid remark, he'll try to do something to recant it and, change it and different things like that. But you have to realize that you're dealing with somebody that basically there's probably not very many people quite like him. Okay. But I mean, he's been voted to be the president of the United States of America, but I'll reiterate, there's not very many people like him. So you have these Republicans that have been going along with some of his theories that I think will probably abandon some of his theories because they know when he's no longer president, what legs do they have to stand on? See, he's showing them a leg and to stand on the fear that he imposes in others. But he's a one of a kind. They can't come in and impose that type of a fear on other people. Republicans are realizing that. So they're starting to take on positions, just like here's the thing about the Obama and they being depicted as apes. And he says one of his staffers did that. Now, me personally, I told Ted, I said, Ted, I believe that's what happened. And Ted is like, man, that's not what happened. I believe that there's some in the Republican Party that are like, well, we're going to put stuff out there because we're kind of growing concerned about our Republican stance in the future because he's putting such a show out there and he's doing it under the Republican umbrella. He's like, oh, the Republicans are doing this, and the Democrats over there, they're doing all this stuff wrong. So the Republicans taking on all this pressure because he's put it under the Republican umbrella are starting to take concern about these things because of the fact that He'll be out of office, and they still have to be on that Republican platform. So that I think is pretty concerning. Did you want to say something, Ted? It's
No.
okay. So you have to understand that the power of God, okay, makes things happen. The power of God makes it to where, okay, what's Donald Trump doing? It seems like he's going as far out as he could go, as far out as he could go, as far out as he could go. And then God says, wait a minute, reel yourself back in here real slow, like, okay? Because, hey, well, some of these things that you're putting out there, okay, some people are not going to go along with it, okay? And I believe that the staffer, after Donald Trump had looked at the first part of it, he says, I looked at the first part of it and it was talking about voter fraud. So I told him to put it on there. But I have staffers that read the entirety, and if it's some conflict, they get back in contact or they don't put it on.
Well, now I do have something to say because yes, I do not believe
Okay.
that he was not aware of that picture of the Obama's heads on apes. I don't believe for 1 second that a staffer would get on his Truth Social platform, put something up so egregious that's going to spark controversies for years. We're not talking about controversies for a day or two. We're talking about it's going to spark controversies for years. Like him knowing about it. I don't know, I didn't know nothing about it, but he put this here depiction of the Obamas up with heads on apes. Now, I'll ask you this question. Vince, have you ever known of a sitting president under any type of platform? I mean, of course, so he got Truth Social. He can put up, you got social media. You can put up something right away. But let's say this. You put up a picture on the internet of something sexual in nature, they'll stop it right away. It's flagged immediately.
Right.
Yeah. You can't even. It's like, oh no, that's a sexual. Immediately. Okay. Yet you have a situation where you have put up a derogatory picture, a photo of a president and his wife, black president and his wife, and as apes, which is basically what you have heard for centuries, okay? That apes, black people come from apes, okay? Especially if you don't believe about if you don't believe creation and you believe evolution, then you're talking about black people coming from apes. And that's basically what he was doing, right? He is saying, "Oh, you know what? I don't believe in no." And listen, this is how egregious this is. This is tantamount to saying, because I'm saying you're using the N word, okay? Yeah, just using the N word with the Obama name, okay? Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. Almost. That's the reason why that Tim Scott was so upset about this incident, because there's no way in my mind, this is my opinion, where Donald Trump, because we never heard anything about, he fired such and such and such and such because whoever did it was fired. No, he hasn't said anything. Then, of course, if it was, he would apologize. This guy don't even make an apology. He feels like, I don't have to apologize. You have to apologize. No, you don't. You don't want to apologize because you had something to do with it. And you put yourself in that position to say, okay, you know what, I know I did it, but you know what, I got so much pushback on it. I better pivot, and say, oh yeah, it was a staffer that did it. But what was Stafford? Well, we don't know what Stafford. But he still hasn't apologized. He still hasn't apologized. So that tells me that he knows all about it. He endorsed it. Oh, he is still continuing to endorse it. He's not making any uh, you know, taking any steps backwards. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. The reason why I believe it is because I
Well, hold on
watched
a
the
second.
view.
You believe that he what he said
Yeah.
is what you say.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Go
I
ahead.
watched the view. I watched the view. And there was a series of the view where this lady came on and she's one of his staffers, one of Donald Trump's staffers. And this was before this happened. Okay. And she says, well, yeah, I have to go in there even in his true social account sometimes, okay, and slow him down. Or he'll say something and I have to try to get in there and retract it before too long goes on. So I
Okay,
know.
so what you're saying, before you go any further, so what you're saying is he has people in place. He has a staffer in place to
Hmm.
make sure that this kind of stuff that happened with those Obamas don't it doesn't happen, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
yes, but
Exactly.
but they but they they cannot control him when he says I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, yeah, they
Okay.
cannot control him. They cannot control him when he says I don't care what you say, I'm doing it anyway, right? Yeah. See, yeah, they may go in, they may say, okay, you know what? That's pushing the envelope, Mr. President. You know, but he has fired everybody. I mean, before he even took, I mean, as soon as he took office, he did two things. He pardoned all those insurrectionists, and then he turned around and fired a whole bunch of people. And so he has no guardrails. Okay, I'm done now. You go ahead.
Okay. But well, what I'm saying is that even though there are certain things that happen, you have to understand that there are certain ones. See, God works in mysterious ways. Okay, God, like the perfect example that I used. Okay, was back in the early 1960s, to where said Negroes back then. Okay, what they were called. Okay, and the way that they were declaring even white people and even some Negroes like, oh, you'll never see a black president in your lifetime. And the way God stepped in and changed things, okay? And the way that God is stepping in and changing things in his own circle with his Republicans and with some of his staffers, they're like, well, we can't probably guardrail every little thing that he does. But, and I mean, if I hadn't seen this woman on The View saying that, yes, I have to really monitor certain things that Donald Trump says and certain things that he even puts on his Truth Show social. And this was before this incident even happened that I've seen this on The View. So,
Okay, so here's the thing. So if that's in fact the case, then why would
mhm,
she allow this depiction of a former president and his wife picture be up there like apes? Why would she allow that? I mean,
that,
if she was monitoring Donald Trump,
mhm,
because this is what you're saying. You're saying that you watched The View, and The View said,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, well I have to watch, make sure he doesn't put and post certain
right,
things." Right?
right.
Yeah.
Mhm,
And she obviously said, "Ah, no, this is not cool." Or she said so. So in other words, he didn't say that she's the one who did it. He just
yeah,
said that he's not apologizing for it. Okay,
right.
okay. And she's saying she has been monitoring what he's been trying to put up there, and
Mhm,
in this particular instance, it got through. I
right.
mean, I mean, in other words, it
I
got
couldn't have said it.
through.
I couldn't have said it any better than what you just said. It. If that's what
Okay,
if you're
here's
asking.
well, fine. Well, here's the thing I'm saying. I'm saying it was his eye to put it on there in the first place. So you can't absolve him. You can't exonerate him because if he was the one who put it on there and she said that she had to go monitor all this stuff and he had it on there and it went through, it's because
Mhm.
he is the one who decided to have this in place in the first place. If that makes
So,
I'm just
like I
saying.
say, like I say, in my opinion, it's one or two things. Okay, one of two things, and that one being that it just slipped by her and the staffers. Okay, or two is there's so much stuff that he says that it's hard to monitor and get everything exactly the way he wants it to be. And they're probably somewhat tired of trying to monitor what he says anyway. And says, well, hey, we'll let it go out there so people could see that, hey, this, what I'm saying? We're not necessarily in agreement with everything he does, but it's our job to do certain things. you have to understand they're under the fear of being fired at any moment. Okay, being
Okay,
under
okay,
being being
okay.
a,
So
being
okay,
employed.
so if that's the case that they're afraid to get fired, they still cannot be blamed for what this man decided to post. Or in his mind, I'm gonna post this. They can't. They have to be exonerated by what happened because it was his truth social
Mm-hmm.
account, and he is responsible for what goes up. And
Mm-hmm.
he still had not apologized. So
Mm-hmm.
and this is me talking. Once again, my opinion is he is the one that all the blame has to fall on. Can I talk about the Staffords? Can I talk about, oh yeah, well, he's been monitored? No, no, he is the blame. He is the one that has the account. He is the president of the United States. Whatever he says matters, right? And then, of course, we know that he's saying, "I'm not apologizing for nothing."
Right. You
Right?
said that.
Yeah, see, he
That's
ain't
right.
apologizing for nothing. See, he ain't apologizing nothing because he know he's the one who did it. He's responsible for it. Okay, yeah, he's responsible for it, and he's like, I'm not apologizing for anything. Yeah, because you know you did it. You know you did it. You know you're sitting back here hoping. And here's another thing: it's a smoke screen. It's a smoke screen for all this Epstein stuff is in the real. That it's not in the real view mirror. It's right in front of him. It's in front, and he's all through the Epstein phone. All through. He's all through. Man, this guy right here. Listen, this dude here, and you have to. I mean, look. How in the world did you knew what you was putting in office? You knew it. You endorsed it.
You
You know,
saying they
my
knew
shit.
it? They knew it. The
Yeah,
ones
they
that
knew it.
they knew it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, right, yeah. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. They knew it.
Okay. All right.
They knew it. They knew exactly what they were putting in office. This
Mhm.
Candace, what's that? Candace name is.
Mhm.
Yeah, the black woman that content creator Candace, somebody I can't remember her last name. But anyway, is now she no longer riding with him. But the fact of the matter, and they got
You
a
talking
whole
about
bunch of other
green,
people that know. Who?
green, uh, green.
Candace, remember her name. But anyway, she's an influential podcast. She's black. She's a black woman.
Okay, you're talking about. Okay, okay. I was talking
And
about. I was talking about the
yeah,
woman green that dropped out on him. You know what I'm saying? The one that
oh,
was the
her too.
oversight for
Yeah,
the
her too.
Republican
And she
Party.
was the man. She was the flagship Donald Trump. Uh, riding with him, and she put him in the rearview mirror as well. So you
Hmm.
got. I mean, in my opinion, this is just
God
my
works.
opinion.
God works in mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways. So me, I'm letting God work what God is working because I know that God works in mysterious ways. So I think it's a work of God in progress. Okay, I'm not saying that everything is, but I think that right now, I think that God is working in a progressive way to make some things happen that should probably have been happening or should have happened already. But God is making some things happen right now in my Jesse Jackson impersonation to make things happen.
Okay, okay,
To make
okay.
things happen in a way that is going to be worked out in God's time. And I believe that, as far as the future goes, I can't predict, but God knows all. And so I put my trust in God because man cannot rule over God. Okay.
That's
Now,
true.
man ruling over man, that part for a while, maybe so, but man cannot rule over God. God has the final say. So God is the authority of all these things, the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. And I do believe that God is at work right now. Now, there's some people that think I'm crazy because me, okay, I've done some things in the past that has to do with geothermal high voltage electricity. And who was a big supporter of it? Donald Trump. But now he's not. So I say, I'm sending out to these electrical companies and different things. Say, well, look, why is he not a supporter of geothermal high voltage electricity? Now, the last thing that one of the ones got back in contact with me and says is, Oh, he says he's a supporter of geothermal high voltage electricity. I said, well, why isn't he letting me work then? Why isn't he allowing me to go out there and bring up primaries? He's seen me do it. Okay, he's seen me do it years ago. So that's the type of contractual and non-contractual stuff that I'm going through right now. But God is a mighty God, and God, I'm sure, will make a mighty work in this area too. But I mean, with certain things that happen, see, you have these people, and they think it's the money. It's not the money, okay?
Oh, it
It
is
is.
money. It is
Wait
the
a minute.
money.
Let me finish saying this. Let me finish. Let me finish saying this. It's not the money when it comes down to the whole thing of power on this earth. Okay, God is the ultimate power on this earth. Money is not the ultimate power. Money is the thing that goes in man's head that makes him think, oh, the money is so this and this. No, no, no. It's the power of God that is so powerful. And that's what ones will find out. But you know what I'm saying? That's how come he says, "Oh, I'm bringing trillions of dollars into the United States of America." Do we see that? I don't see it personally. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you see it, but oh, these trillions of dollars that I'm bringing into the United States of America. Oh, this and that. You know what I'm saying? All I can say is, I'm still the poor guy that I was when he got elected, but I can't blame him for that because I was a poor guy when he got elected. Okay.
Okay, so this whole thing all about money. Because if it wasn't about money, or the understanding of what money actually is, because money is basically a, in my opinion, a figment of someone else's imagination. In other words, they say, okay, money is this dollar bill can buy you, all the money went up, all the money went down. As a matter of fact, it's just a piece of paper. You
Well,
know,
look at the
it's
Bitcoin. Give the Bitcoin for example. You take the Bitcoin, it's like, come on. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, nobody had heard of such a thing, and all of a sudden they come out with the Bitcoin, and it's worth billions and billions of dollars, and it went from that to being okay. It's not all that valuable. It's a figment of person's imagination to put a value on certain things. Okay, just like they put a value on a light bulb, a value on a piece of paper. Look, money is just a piece of paper, right? But look at the value that's placed on it, okay, from somebody's imagination, okay, and it being written into a note. But hey, we got 2 minutes, so let me know, you know what I'm saying, and then I was gonna go ahead and pray us out. I was gonna find it in the Bible because I sure messed it up when I was coming on.
Well, go ahead, man. Pray us out now.
Okay, okay. It says, after this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Praise Jesus. Praise God. So we have
All right.
less than a minute now to go. We've got 30 seconds. And I think it's been a good show, but I mean, certain things to stay tuned on while you watch God at work, okay, over man being at work. And that's what I'd say about that part of it.
Well, we completed another Kings and Priests agreements and discourse, and
Much
basically what
love.
we talked about today was um, uh, man cannot rule over other men. As a matter of fact, man, uh, anything. As a matter of fact, the only thing that man can even come close to being a rule over is himself or herself. You know, they need to focus on, trying to be the best person that they can be, bring out the goodness of God, and spread it all over the world. That being said, I'm Ted King, and he is.
I'm Haji Megrave, King New Shoes Peanut, Lewis O'Neill King Sr. And
So,
so I'd
all
say,
right.
hey, praise God and hey, much love.
Yeah, all right. Peace